Now we're recording.
I'm going to have to sneak out though for a second, guys.
Yep, they got that on recording. It's on video. Now they know that you're sneaking out.
I'm sneaking out.
Okay. I think we're good. It's right on time.
We're ready to go. It's
Yeah, it is right on time.
Should we zoom in a little? We have a lot of stuff on the table.
These organic cashews, they're really tasty.
Do you want some?
No, I'm just, that was there on the screen.
Oh, there we go. Okay, wait, that's probably good. I want to cut.
Better?
Better.
Okay. Are we on the edge? Too little on the edge? There.
Okay.
Edge good. Didn't do anything. So then we look up there. We want to talk to the people.
Hi,
Talk to people. Hi, people. How are you all doing today?
I did just do a post too. So.
Yep, and I put it in the all the places.
And then we're gonna upload this to Holistic Chamber to the.
Well, yeah, the YouTube link.
Okay. Yeah, got it. We're gonna do the main one. Is that what we're talking about?
Mm-hmm. Well, I put this our ad on there.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Okay.
I think we're ready.
We're ready.
Oh, will you start us too in a nice sacred bubble of awesomeness?
Let's do it. Everyone who's joining us.
Sign up. We're not gonna.
No, I was receiving.
I love you guys. Receive, yeah. So go ahead and wherever you are listening to this, you can just close the eyes for a moment, unless you're driving, and then don't do that.
Real fast, sorry. Before we dive in, can you announce what this is for our, because we're going to be.
This is how, yes. Hello, everyone. I'm Tara Long.
I'm Ryan Charaba.
And I'm Kimi Morton.
And we are your shift 3 out of the 4 of your Shift to Rise leaders. And today we are going to be leading you, guiding you in a live training around how to never worry about money again. Yes. We just say that, baby.
Sweet to me.
It sounds sweet, and I know you might be thinking, whatever, yeah, right. But just stick with us. And I promise you, you're going to get at least 1, if not 5, really awesome ahas or insights from today. But before we do that, let's go ahead and just settle for a moment so that we can hear very clearly our own intuitive wisdom, so that you can take with you exactly what you need out of today's training. So close the eyes wherever you are. And put your feet on the ground. Just feel yourself in the chair or wherever you may be right now. And take a nice deep breath. The deepest breath you've taken all day. And give yourself permission to move the energy from the head down into the space of the heart. And as you breathe in and out, feel the expansion of the space in your heart. And feel it opening, however much it's opening today. No judgment, no right or wrong. And allow yourself to receive the information, even if your thinking mind doesn't understand. Just let it sink in to your heart, to your spirit. And know that you're going to get whatever you need to get. So feeling the body nice and relaxed, the shoulders, the muscles of the face. Take another deep breath in. And go ahead and open the eyes when you feel ready. Thank you. Yeah,
I always love when you help us with that. It's always exactly what I needed.
Yay. I know, I feel a calm space now.
Wonderful. All right, so let's talk about money. Let's first share about why we're talking about money.
Such a great thing. Why? It happens to be like the #1 topic of stress for people. I really think it's #1.
I would put, yeah, absolutely.
For humanity, right? It's the #1 thing people worry about, stress about, and base their lives around. It basically controls you in everything that you do. Because if you took money out of the equation and it weren't part of it anymore, there were no stress around it, right? right now money is our system, so we can't necessarily take it out of the equation, but we can take our perception of it out of the equation.
Right.
We can remember that it's not real. And when we can do that, and imagine how much it would open you to the possibilities of your life and of who you really are if you had no fear around whether money was going to be there or not.
How much time would you save?
And energy, and like distraction.
Yes.
You know, you can be spending your time, energy, love on so many other things. Right?
Absolutely.
For sure. I think, like I could share a personal story of mine.
Yeah.
Like I was born, my parents were 18 years old, and we moved, excessively moved, because of money all the time. And I want to even remind us even more that, just like Tara is saying, that it is our system, and in our society, we train ourselves to be employees and consumers. And I mean, that's the general norm. I need to get a job so I can purchase these items so that I can do this and this and XYZ and go to school, go to college, get the White House picket fence and family and all this stuff. And it all requires a certain amount of intake. And the story is so deeply ingrained in ourselves that we don't even realize that these fears are automatic.
Right.
They're just firing off every day. Get this, get this. I just bought this computer. Oh, it's been a year later. There's a new one. I got to get a new one, a new TV,
It's going to make me
car.
happy. It's going to make me happy.
Yeah.
It's going to make me happy.
And so really, when you're able to really connect to that, this is how I was bred in a way, it's like, oh, I'm scared and I'm freaking out. And in a way, it's not even really your fault per se, until you realize that this is what's going on, and then you can start to make a conscious shift and to practice a different method. So that's the biggest thing for me in the beginning.
I think too, when we got together and we created Shift to Rise, one of the words that kept coming up, or feelings that kept coming up for all of us, was freedom. That's something that links all of us. Pua, you know, all three of us here. It's like, God, freedom. We all love freedom so much. And I think that's why the conversation of money is important to us, because it's so deeply tied to freedom for people.
For sure.
And there are so many opportunities for us to shift when it comes to money. And I'm excited to talk about this today too, because this is, because I'm so keyed into freedom as something that I really value. It's my journey with money and abundance and prosperity has been challenging, to be honest.
Absolutely.
And I have been really focused on some form of lack for most of my entire life, whether that be lack of, I don't have enough, or taxes, or bills, or the things, or not enough clients, or how, and all of that then comes back to not enoughness within too, right? And then it becomes a conversation about self-worth and all of these things, and it can be agonizing and exhausting. And I have to say, I've learned so much about money and prosperity from my time with you, Tara. You are so comforting when it comes to this subject. I was like looking for the right word. So comforting. And it really, you reminded me of this. It's because you said this. That's because this is the truth.
Yeah,
Our
truth.
infinite nature, right? That's our truth. And so I'm as excited to learn today as I am to share what is helping me on this journey.
Very much the same. Yeah.
Absolutely. He was looking at me, so
Go for it. I could just ramble on.
I know. Well, I think we all could.
Yeah,
I think we all could.
for sure.
But I want to talk about, you made a good point to me about money, people equating money with freedom. Like, oh, if I have X amount of money, then I'll feel free. Then I'll be free, right? But doesn't that still create stress for us to have a certain amount, right? Even if it's $1 million, you're still counting, you're still afraid to lose it. Right? There's still all these things. So like this book that really changed my life, and I'll share it with you guys. It's called Busting Loose from the Money Game by Robert Scheinfeld. And it's the cheesiest cover you've ever seen in your life. And it looks like a super cheesy like money book, but it's not. It's actually
how he
the
gets
foundation. It's how he gets you in, right? Money. So he talks about it as it's a game you can never win. It's a game you can never win, no matter if you have all the money in all the world or you don't have any. It's always something you're thinking about. It's on your mind. You equate it. It's equated to everything in your life. So how do we take out the thinking that it's real, that if I have this, then this will be the case. If I have this much, I'll be happy. If I have this much, I'll be able to feel secure. Security is an illusion, right? Just like money is an illusion. It's not real. So how do we, and this is a process, and something that I know we're going to go deeper in our retreat, right? So it's going to be more of a intensive sort of environment for us to explore these topics and for you to actually have them seep into you. And I know today is kind of just a, I mean, you're gonna get lots of value today, obviously, but you know, I don't want you to feel discouraged or like, oh, I don't really get it. That's okay. You know, get the book, read the book, or just keep putting yourself in the situation. In our trainings, you know, come to our retreat, whatever.
Or send us questions. We'll respond for sure. We'll actually answer your questions.
Well, absolutely. But we have a few, I think, items that we want to talk about today. You know, to not forget. And we're going to throw some things out, right? Like lack doesn't exist. Lack isn't real.
That is so huge. This has been, especially recently for me, like one of those big aha moments. And it's become really a mantra for myself of like, wait, lack does not exist. Infinite is infinite. We are, and I know this is, because I was there too. I get it. I know that this can sound really out there, kind of airy-fairy, if you will, right? Woo-woo. But think about the opposite. The opposite is the way that I've been living life most of my life, and that is focusing on lack. And how does that feel? Like, that feels like crap.
Yeah.
And it is, I have so much over my life associated, like, I've just been so focused on that lack. And so this is a truly freeing concept of, okay, well, what if lack is a completely made up thing, right? That our human minds have made up.
Well, I think I want to go back to what Tara was talking about with the monetary system. It's a losing game. And one of the things I've heard recently is that the way that business is done, generally it's a zero-sum game. Let's use real estate as an example. If you're buying a house, whoever sells it, whoever buys it, somebody wins, somebody loses. Somebody doesn't make how much money they want, and whoever's selling it or buying it pays too much or pays too less, or the water heater's broken and the sewage and plumbing needs to be all fixed, and you never really notice until after the deal is done, the paperwork is signed. And so in our general way of kind of playing this game with each other, we're always looking for a way to one-up the other person. And so if we can start to shift our mindset into a way like, how can we both benefit from this deal? And then, because like we're saying that lack isn't a real thing and infinite is infinite, like there's always enough to go around. It's like, oh, I don't need to screw you over on this deal because I know that it's like when you really get logical about it and look at the difference is it's so minuscule that you're looking at the difference between 1,000,001 and 1,000,002. Like it's literally, it's silly. So I just think it's one of those really things to look at. How are you playing your game? How are you trained to play the game? And how is this actually setting up that same game against you to eventually lose it all? So,
because you want to maybe screw someone over because you fear there's not enough.
And if you don't screw them over, they're going to screw you over.
Right.
You know, which is it's just silly.
Another way
it's lose.
Game.
It's really, really ridiculous.
I do feel that one of the most powerful ways to transform and really sit into that feeling of that there is no lack is through the process of gratitude too, because then you start to really recognize that nothing is missing in your life, and you train your brain or your heart or your spirit to really look for, okay, if nothing is missing, then this thing that I feel like is missing, where is it present in my life? And where can I feel gratitude for it? And the more that you look for it, the more that you see it, and therefore it expands.
Absolutely. I mean, and even all that, you were talking about before. I can't remember what one of you said, but getting back to, and this is kind of going a few steps ahead, which I like to do, and you guys bring me in.
I love it. We like it.
Let's go for the gold, guys. But our consciousness, right, creates our experience for your highest good. So whether you, like in this, what I like to call reality 3.0, in this space of, oh, I'm not even thinking about money anymore. I don't check my bank account anymore because I know the money, whatever I need, is going to be there. We get to the point where we know that whatever is coming in or not coming in the moment is actually supporting our highest. And that's enough, right? And so we actually lose the idea of, oh, this is good or this is bad, because it's not either, right? It's what are you going to do with it? And when you can trust, and it's cultivating that trust in, you know, the universe, God, source, whatever you want to call it, which is you, when you cultivate and when you follow that, you know, it will, like for people who need practical like results or whatever we were talking about before, well, just go a week without checking your bank account. You know, what happens? Does it, when you focus on a finite number, what happens? It becomes more finite. It becomes more and more limited. Whereas if you go, oh wait, hands off, I have cosmic overdraft protection, which is a Robert Scheinfeld term, not mine. I'm not taking credit for that. But I think that's great. You know, that is like where we can get to, and there's steps in between that. I'm not, I know I'm kind of jumping over stuff here.
But you know, let's go there.
Let's go there.
Yeah, go for it.
And I think that brings us to what I think of as a practical and spiritual approach to never worrying about money again, which is changing your language around money.
Yes,
that's
language.
so huge.
Let's talk about that.
And that's a really great way. I know that we frequently use a lot of language from Busting Loose from the Money Game, like request of appreciation instead of the price or the cost of anything. But that's another really fun way to dive into this world where you begin to just bring some awareness to how you speak and also how you think about money. So it's not just what's coming out of your mouth, but what's running in your head. Do you have constant words flowing in your head like, I don't have enough, I can't afford that, oh my gosh, that's too expensive, this is, right? All of that, it makes us feel.
I think too, just to touch on that and to go a little deeper in the back before, I'm huge about what happened before to bring us to where we are today. But people are like, the words that come out of your mouth are always based on the things that you believe. Well, this doesn't make any sense, or that's not true, or what you're saying is wrong. Yet if you go a week without looking at your bank account practice, and then you check in with what happens after that, it's going to be something you probably didn't expect. And that can go into the file of your new belief, and that practice over and over will then create those new things and create your new belief, and then prove whatever you want to prove, really. So if you want to prove that money is limited, then carry on. You can do that. If you want to prove that it's not, then you can do that as well. It's really your choice.
So everything's available for you, and you know. And I think it's important to talk about like the request of appreciation, just to note when you pay for something, right, at the store. I got groceries, and now what are you actually doing when you're taking it home? You're appreciating it. You're saying, oh gosh, thank you so much for this food. You know, thank you so much for this amazing retreat that's going to change my life. Thank you. I am expressing my appreciation in the form of this energy, which we call money. You know, so it's just knowing that that's a flow of appreciation, a flow of energy that is inevitably going to come back to you when you're not stuck and focused on, now I don't have this much money anymore because I gave it away. I gave it to someone.
I think the grocery is a really cool example of energy. You open the fridge and there's nothing in there. You're like, oh, and then you're like sitting there and you just eat lunch, you're not even hungry. Yet you're like, there's no food in the refrigerator, and you're like, what am I gonna do? And you're like, I'm not even hungry. And then you go to the grocery store and you load your cart up, and then you bring it home, you put it in your fridge, and you open the fridge up. Oh, I feel amazing. And you may still not even be hungry, yet it's just like this feeling came from where? You know, the groceries are just down the street. It's really no difference than them being in your refrigerator, yet the energy that comes up with these securities, these different situations is really like, where does this even come from? And you know, it's a simple practice to remove these nuances and feelings that are very common and normal in our lives, the normal default. And thanks for bringing that up. I think that's really a great example.
I mean, barring a zombie apocalypse, you know, we are all, especially in Hawaii,
I'm still ready.
But I think I could do it because I've watched a lot of Walking Dead guys, and I'm ready. I'm ready for it. It'll never happen.
Jeez.
Come to my house.
I'm definitely coming to your house.
That is literally the only instance I would ever use a gun, ever, is in a zombie apocalypse. Moving on.
Let's keep moving because I will get this.
I know.
Okay, so far we've talked about changing our money around, or changing our language around money, maybe even changing our stories
I
around
think changing the
money.
story is really
Beliefs,
huge.
stories,
Yeah,
beliefs,
beliefs
yep.
and your stories.
Sure, there's becoming aware of it so that we can change it, but
Yep.
not dwelling on it, because as we also pointed out, what we focus on expands.
Yes.
So the more we focus on our stories about lack and all the things, then that's what's going to expand. So instead, what do you want? What new beliefs would you like to expand in your world? Okay, what's next?
And we know that the how is none of our business.
Yes.
This is a big one,
This is a
right?
big one.
As I was told Kimmy before,
Mhm.
like money could literally fall out of the sky and hit you on the head. It's true, it could. So when we close ourselves off, like money can only come, I only have income from my job and from maybe this other place.
Right.
There's two ways, there's two avenues, that's it. Money can't come any other way. Okay, so it won't come any other way. But wouldn't you rather be like, oh, where's money gonna come from? Or you're not even thinking about it, right? It's just, you know, you're open to unlimited possibilities around the how, because it's not your business. It's not your damn business. It's not, right? There's all this stuff going on. I go up, but whatever, it's all around us.
Mhm.
And these, in the other realms, right? Physical is just a little iceberg, right? It's only what we can see.
Very, very much true.
Yeah.
This is such a great point in any area of your life.
Yes.
And it's where we tend to shut down, is when we start allowing ourselves to get stuck in the how of everything, right? So you go back and listen to our How to Get Unstuck training. And
Right.
like, yeah, that was a lot about not being in the how of things, because what typically happens is we have this big expansive idea. Our heart is calling for something. And by the way, if you can envision it, if your heart is calling for it, that means that it's there for you. If you can conceive of it, right? And so often we'll think of these things that we want, and then our brain comes in, our ego comes in and says, I don't know, how am I going to do that? And I don't know, that seems impossible. That's never happened to me before. I don't know this, and how am I going to do it? And oh my God, I don't know how to even build a website. How could I even build this business? How could I do this? How could I, how? We feel like, and then we just go back to.
And how much
Patience
time passes while you're worrying about those things?
Right.
This is 100% true. Your problem is not
Ryan with
new.
guarantees again.
No, 100% true. This is 100%
Yeah.
true. Your problem, my problem, your problem, your problem. It's not new. Somebody else out there has had it, and there's a world of information on how to accomplish all these things. Everybody's had the experiences. It's just kind of new and little different tweaks and stuff. But start anywhere. If you want to go on a diet, go to Google, pick the top one. If you go from zero to anything, it's going to change. And if you just constantly dwell on this, I'm just going to remain in the seat and never do anything because
I'm afraid. Because bottom line, I'm afraid. Fear of what? You can never not have.
Exactly.
You can never be hurt. You can never be broken. You can never not be whole. You can never not have something, right? It doesn't. And then of course, we did touch on, well, how about all the tragic things in the world that are going on and all the people in poverty? Yes, absolutely. That's a whole other subject that we're not really going to get into today. But going back to that mantra of everything is as it should be for a soul's highest growth.
I think it's worth touching on that really quick.
Yeah, let's do it.
We're not a bunch of delusional hippies. Let's be real. However,
hippies, yes, but delusional.
Right. Okay, see, that's why I put them together.
I put
Anyways,
myself in that category.
how can you expect to help the world and help everything else if you won't even start how to just Google how to build a website, how to start a business, how to find more money, how to anything? How can you expect for any of that other things to change if you're not actively attempting to change yourself?
Well, as we heal ourselves, we free up our energy to heal.
Exactly.
And self-realization is really the only healing you need, because it's then you remember, I'm infinite, and infinite is infinite, right? You can't be infinite and limited at the same time. They can't coexist. You can feel like that, and that's okay, right? That's all right. You're human, right? You're gonna get into the space of the collective consciousness, which is very much a place of limitation and lack. But how can you have the awareness and point yourself in the direction of I'm unlimited, right? So it does take practice for you. It does take reminding yourself, right? You can't take one class on this and then be like, all right, I'm good. You know, I mean, maybe. I'm not saying that's not possible.
For sure.
But more likely, it's steeping yourself in this environment of truth with a capital T, which is what we're talking about today.
Mm-hmm.
Truth with a capital T.
That's right, baby. Again, that's another Robert Scheinfeld term. He's always like, truth with a capital T. I'm like, yes, Robert, you go in his videos. He's so cute.
I think also when we talk about the how and when we get very fixated, and this is a very practical application if you are
For sure.
needing that. You know, when we get stuck in the how, especially in business or relationships or anything, right? This is how money has to come to me. What kind of energy then are you putting out to the world? You're saying, okay, I would like $1,000 and this has to come from you. I want it from you. I'm going to watch it till I get it right. I want right other way. It is repellent
Desperation
energy. Desperation. And so instead, if I have the energy of, this is what I would love to create.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I plant the seeds and I let them go.
I'm unattached to them.
Unattached to outcome. I don't know. It's not my business to know whether the $1,000 is going to come from Ryan or fall on my head, as Tara said.
Or it's going to be $100,000.
Or it's
right?
$100,000.
We don't know.
And the letting go of that, the ease of my energy and my vibration, it doesn't send poor Ryan running off into the hills. And it leaves me open to endless possibilities, endless opportunities. And that's easy. That's where I want to be. That feels good. And so practice that. Just practice thinking about it as planting a garden. Have these things that you envision and plant them and then let go. Let go of the how. Let go of the need to say, like, you don't plant a seed and then go, grow, 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 grow.
And every 2 seconds you're putting water on it, right? Like, come on.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's, then you're going to kill it. You're going to kill it, and nothing is going to happen.
Don't bring potted plants to my house.
But I think that's such a great point to talk about the amount of money too. When you say an amount, it limits you automatically.
Mm-hmm.
So what I used to do in my business is like, this year I want to make this much. Now I don't absolutely do not do that because it immediately puts me into limitation and lack. Like, what? Oh, okay, I'm only going to make X amount this year. No, I am open and free to knowing that my highest is always being served because I am connected and in the flow and following that inspired action when it comes. No matter what. It's trust. It's not knowing how it's going to work out or what it's going to look like. It's most likely going to be completely different than you could ever possibly imagine. Right? And that's the magic of life. Like, I want to be in that place of the unknown of like, oh my gosh, knowing that I'm supported always, no matter what. And who knows how that's going to happen. It's really exciting. And I'll read this quote.
Yes, please.
Opening to your infinite abundance means letting go of thoughts and concerns about how you will receive it or how you must act to receive it. That's such a great, right? How we think we have to deserve it. Money isn't, you are money.
Right.
Money is an infinite resource that is always there. You don't have to do or be or say anything. And when you remember that and open yourself to that, boom.
I used to get very stuck, and I still find myself sometimes getting pulled back into the story of, why don't I have more money? I'm a good person. Right? I'm a good person doing good things. I don't understand. And it becomes this block for us. Block is such a word, but you know, it's funny, right? We can kind of get stuck in that dialogue, and sometimes it can be helpful to say, like, I've heard a great mantra, like, I serve, I deserve, and sometimes those things will lift our energy just enough to recognize the truth, capital T, which is that you don't need to serve to deserve. You don't need to deserve to earn. You just
don't need to work 40 hours a week.
You don't need to work harder. That's the other one I have running a lot, is like, okay, I must have to work harder. I got to work harder. I got to be more responsible, right? Again, they come from our past. They come from whatever.
Conditioning.
They come from society, whatever it is. But it's great to be around people, by the way, that help you to call bullshit on your stuff and call bullshit on those stories that have become you're so used to and comfortable having them come out of your mouth or run in the back of your head that sometimes you're not even aware of them. And that's the beauty of being in the company of amazing people. And really what our retreat is all about. That's what our retreat
is about. Absolutely. It's like, hey, we all can offer this to you guys, right? In a very, very amazing, like distilled way that is clear, that we're going to make sure that everything is like clear for you and you're in this environment and you leave in this environment and then you don't just leave and go back and go, oh, well, now 2 days later I'm back in my old thing.
You're not going to be able to go back.
No, that's the thing. Once you go, I don't know what we're going to say, you can't go back. You just can't go back. You can't go back. And we're going to make sure that and offer support.
We're going to make sure. You won't need roads.
Roads.
We're going, there are
roads.
Yes,
I love that. Oh, man.
Awesome, great.
So
okay,
exciting.
let's see. Is there anything?
Did we touch upon all of our points?
All of our points.
Are there any points from the listeners?
Yeah. Ooh.
No?
Anyone out there? No. Yeah, I think at least on my list we kind of got through all our main points. So.
Yeah, and really as somebody that is personally working on this, I want to be really transparent and say that this is something that is very present for me and that I've been working through and really trying to fill myself with or expose myself to different ways of thinking, surround myself with people that are really lifting me up in this area, raising my vibration. I just want to say that I know how slippery this can feel and sound. And I know how there's a part of us, part of our ego that makes us want to, hi!
Oh, hello!
How are ya? Hi, Danielle. There's a part of us that wants to shut down when we hear truth like this. And there's part of us that knows it's truth, but there's a part of us that feels like, wow, this is just too much. I am not sure I'm ready. I'm not sure. I don't know what to do with all of it. It feels good, but it feels scary. So that's okay, and just know that, and know that that's part of the process. Let go of the judgment around it, and just know that there are always people. Don't worry about the how, because there are always people. If you have a desire within to want to raise your vibration, want to shift in the area of money, wealth, anything, there is support for you, and we are here for you. Open yourself up and just be light with it. Be light with it.
Right, and like take the pressure off.
My God, right? Because I've spent so much time being like, we were just talking about before, I feel like I've been like, I'm working really hard on this thing. I'm working on this money mindset shit. I'm really going to figure this money thing out. And that is just exhausting. And you're going to spend a lot of time and energy and leak a lot of time and energy. So lighten up a little.
I think, thank you, Kimmy. In the moment, ask yourself the question, can I be with this even though it doesn't feel great in the moment? Like right now, and then just like, oh, I'm sitting in a room, there's a roof, I'm not getting rained on, I know where my next meal is coming from, my family's healthy, blah, 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 blah. And there's this, and remind yourself and just pick something right near you. I'm grateful for both of you. And then that's like, oh, we're fine. Like that dog drinking a cup of coffee with the fire burning. It's not like that, I'm joking. No, it's like just remind yourself in the moment, can you be open to being on the journey? Can you remind yourself that you do have the desire to move to a different space? And I think that's really powerful in the moment. So.
Yeah, and just to share a little bit of kind of how I got to this space, and of course, being human and in the collective, you know, I am, for myself personally, I know sometimes I get those thoughts again of like, oh my God, money, and I'm like, wait, and it's reminding yourself, right? But for me, reading this book, and I know, you know, I have suggested this book to people, and I know one person was like, I got about halfway through it, it scared me, and I had to put it down, and I couldn't read it anymore right now. And I said, that's okay.
Completely okay.
You can go back to it when you are ready to go back to it. And for myself, I know it's like, you know, I use a lot reality 1.0, 2.0, 3.0. So kind of straddling that 2.0 and 3.0 between having to work and deal with money and law of attraction, all of that, and knowing that it's just infinite. you know, being kind of straddling that space and going back and forth. For me personally, it's been about a year I've been on this journey. And, you know, at first it was scary, right? And I was like, oh, I'm really not going to check my bank account ever? Okay, you know, and so every once in a while I would. It'd be like, oh, I'm just going to go in there and check it. And so it would be this like teeter-totter. But the more my, you know, who I really am, my soul desired to, I was like, that is the most important thing for me, is to feel free in this way. Right. And of course, it extends not just to money, but to everything.
Everything else.
To everything in my life. And so you begin to stay longer over here, right, in the 3.0, and then longer and longer and longer until you literally cannot go back anymore. And so I feel very just awesome and fortunate to be in that place, right? But there is a breaking point. There is like a busting loose point where you might visit for like a hot minute, but then you're like, oh yeah, I know exactly what to do to get myself back in the space.
For sure.
Right? But it can be scary, and it can be, you know, it's literally everything that you have been taught and conditioned to around money. It's taking all of that and throwing it in the trash, right? And that starts to pull up all kinds of other weeds around everything. Around reality, around, oh my God, if this is all a dream, then what's the effing point, right? That's what we're going to be talking about in our retreat at the retreat. See you at the retreat.
I'm so stoked to pull weeds.
Pull those weeds. And
Danielle, do you have any questions for us? Do you have any money questions, Danielle? How are you?
Good. How are you? Thank you guys for having us. I mean, I didn't get to hear the whole thing because of work. I'm actually at work. I didn't get to hear the whole thing, so I don't know if I'm asking something that's already been answered. But this has been like my biggest challenge that I've been working through for like ever. And I've never heard of this book. And I'm like, as you were saying, I'm like, I caught the title when you put the book down. I'm like, oh, and I'm like Googling it while I'm listening. So anyway, what do you do? So my thing is, because I am working on my businesses, I have 3, and I'm working a full-time job. But then I also have things come in. Like I got a call from a debt collector today. And it like lowered my vibration. And I'm like, and then when I'm sorry, I don't even name in the middle of the guy.
Ryan.
Ryan, thank you, Ryan. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
You were saying something about not letting it, what did you say, not letting it bother you or pull you down or something?
I think let it bother you.
Let it bother you? Like feel it?
Yeah, let yourself feel it. Because just like I was saying, that when you can really get in tune with that, with the emotion, and really in how it manifests inside of your body physically, then you can begin to find out where that weed is really attached to.
Okay.
That makes sense? And so
it does make sense.
And so it's just, and remind yourself that the lean guy, he's just doing his job. He's just calling you, and he calls 1,000 people a day, and maybe one person answers the phone. And if he gets one person to answer the phone, then he wins. And just just practice yourself feeling like, man, I don't like this feeling. Okay, I don't like it. And then if you can just, in the moment, say, hey, I'm Danielle Lee, whether the phone rings or not. I still have 3 businesses and a full-time job, whether that phone rings or not.
Right.
The world is still intact, regardless. So it's just, and that may not feel very great the first time you do that. And then the second time,
it doesn't.
Because it was just like Kimi was saying earlier, as soon as the phone rang, like how much energy you're giving to a device that lit up. You know, now your focus is on this thing that somebody created, an electrical signal through a line, when you could be, instead being like, okay, the phone rang, I'm still going to focus on this thing that actually matters instead, and continue to create and just practice. Like this is the middle of the road the tarot refers to as reality 2.0, and that practice, it's just like shooting a free throw or learning to swim or how to laugh at your own jokes. And it's just, you know, be with yourself, let yourself feel. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just how we're built.
Yeah, that's the whole, I mean, and I try to let myself feel it, but then it goes right to feeling guilty that I'm feeling these feelings. I feel guilty that I have this debt and I don't know where the money's going to come from. And then I start spiraling automatically, and I catch myself, and I start spiraling.
Yeah.
I have all this stuff going on. And if they go to the legal actions, and if it really gets that challenging and all that stuff, you know, what's going to happen? And I don't do that. Like it's not something I normally do, but because I've done a lot of, you know, work to not do this stuff. But then when I actually start to feel it and I let myself go back there, I get really anxious. And it's just like,
you feel guilty? Tell me more about the guilt.
I feel guilty that I have this it's actually like $6,000 debt. I feel guilty in that it's from a time when I was going through a lot of stuff, and I used a credit card to pay for things because of whatever. Long story short, I've been living with my parents for over 3 years, going on, I don't know, 2-3 years now, whatever, a long time, because I've been resetting and paying things off. But this is like one debt that I feel like is never going away. And I'm like, what's the spiritual lesson? What am I learning from this? And it's like, I was paying on it. I signed up for a credit company to help me rebuild my credit. And I found out that legally, because they bought it from someone else, I technically don't have to pay it, but then I do. I don't know. I'm very confused on what I'm supposed to do with it. And I'm like, it just challenges me because I stopped paying on it. Because I'm just like, I don't want to have to keep doing this. I want to, you know, be done with this part. You know what I mean? And so, I don't know. I just don't know where to go with it. And I've been asking for guidance, and then I catch your audio right now, and I'm talking to you.
Can you be done with it right now, even for just 30 seconds? Just let it go.
Yeah.
And then the guy you talked to that said, hey, somebody else bought your debt, so legally you don't even have to pay for it. Like, that's 100% true. It's 100% true. There's out there you could call and pay $300 to clean your credit up, and he could make it go away. Like it's just surreal. Like, those people exist. Like, that guy has a job because of that same thing. You know,
can you send me his info?
Yeah, if you want, like, shoot me a Facebook message and I'll help you find the guy, whoever that. You know, it's just, and it's like Revolving Credit is the biggest scam in the wide world. It's there. It's not attached to anything. It's literally it's a card we keep in our wallet, and there's nothing physical attached to it. It's not like a lien on your house or your car where the guy's going to come up and you know, jack the car from your driveway because you didn't pay your debt. You know. Yeah. Literally, there's a 3-digit number in the internet somewhere that they're gonna back that off a few points, and then in the future, somebody else is going to want to give you more money because that's how they make money. This thing that we're completely making up, and
that's true.
It's a scam. It's a scam, and
that's what it feels like.
It is. It's completely a scam. And what I was saying at the beginning of the call too is that from the time we start first grade, we are trained to be employees and consumers.
That's true.
Yeah. And so right now what you're training to do instead is to be a leader and an adventurer. And adventurers don't pay their credit card bills if they don't feel they have to.
I must be one for a long time then with justice.
Sure. I mean, you can you say that as a joke.
Well, because I'm laughing at myself.
Yeah, if you want to practice that is 100% true if you really let it be.
Oh.
You know, somebody let it be true. Let the fact be that, you know what, I'm not paying this because I have more important shit to worry about.
I do.
You know? It is. It's numbers on a screen.
Numbers on a screen.
Yeah, and I think too, remembering that you are not your debt.
Yes.
You're not your debt.
Right?
Hilarious.
There's a lot of identity. Yeah. Taking it on as
and that guilt, right? And somehow you think that because of this thing, you are less than. And that is, it feels awful because it's not true. It's bullshit. And that's what feels awful about it. The debt doesn't feel awful. Debt is silly. It's numbers, whatever. What feels awful to you right now is your being out of alignment with your truth, which is that you are whole, you are fine, you are not your debt, you are not less than because of it. And, you know, something radical too, what I sense is a lot of like this focus on this debt as, you know, like, oh my God, this debt, and you're resisting it so deeply. Like you don't even want to deal with it. You don't want to deal. And in that, it's like, it's growing. Yeah. And that's why it has that feeling like it's not going away. Could you do something radical, like loving this debt? Can you love that?
Love the heck out of it.
Love the heck out of it.
Yeah.
It helped you through a important part of your life. It was part of a transition. How did it serve you? How is that debt your friend? How did it help you become who you are right now? Love it up and then watch it go.
What's the story? What's the transition? What did this $6,000 do for you back when it did it for you? If you don't mind.
No, not at all. I'm trying to think of a condensed version. I went through, I was working in TV. I'm not going to say the company because it's huge, whatever. I was working in TV and
not as big as us.
Huh?
Not as big as us.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. I was working for a health education company in TV. Who was also associated with a very large news network that's all over the world. So anyway, regardless, that doesn't really matter. Anyway, I was working in TV and I was just, my life essentially was being, you know, I was work. That was all my life. And I found myself escaping on the weekends, stuff like that. And I remember just hitting a breaking point and saying, I just want to break. Well, because the universe loves me so much. 2 months later, I was laid off. And I went through 7 jobs in a year. But that's how I found yoga. That's how I got back to my spirituality. That's how I found just everything. That's how my life has completely changed in these past couple of years. So I know that happened for me. But the reason why I had that credit card debt is because I was stubborn and my ego wouldn't let me move back home. It didn't want me to find other ways. I'm like, no, I'm just, because my mom was like, well, just use your credit card, pay your bill and you'll pay it later. So I did that. But then I, of course, just racked up $7,000 of whatever because it just wasn't working. And I've been living at home with my parents, but through this whole time, I've managed to get my 200-hour yoga certification. I've managed to accomplish so many things I never thought I could, you know, on top of being guided, teaching at my first yoga retreat, being guided to Gabby, meeting, you know, Kimmy, you got everything. So my life is completely different and I'm extremely grateful. And so it's like that $7,000 debt was like a part of my life that I know I've worked through, and I'm grateful for it because it's taught me a lot of things, and it's brought me to who I am today. And I just feel like I'm done with it. You know what I mean? Like I don't really need to keep looking back on it. And then every month because I was paying on it, and then I was paying on it. And then when I found out all that stuff with my credit, I'm like, well, let me stop, see what my options are. And now all the calls and all the stuff is starting again because I stopped it. And stuff like that. So it's like, I'm like, okay, so what am I really learning? Like I was taking responsibility for it, I thought, by paying on it. But then when I found out legally I'm not required to pay it because they bought it from someone else and the insurance on my credit card already paid them for it. Why am I doing that? That's money I could be investing in myself, could be investing in my companies, my future, paying off a school loan. That's, you know, those are forever, but they don't have to be. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. So, and anyway, that's where it's from. But loving it, I think the challenge with it, I can love it. It's true. That's a good point, Kimmy. But the challenge I have is separating loving my debt from the credit people that are calling and harassing me, and they're harassing my father. You know what I mean? Like, how do you separate that?
Can you love them too?
Mm-hmm. Think about the person who has that job that's making those phone calls.
Yeah. Well,
true.
You know, I call it the gremlins that are coming in, and they're just there for a very specific reason. And you can go, oh my gosh, thank you so much for helping me. Mm-hmm. How? It doesn't matter how. But that totally shifts the energy or the vibration of, oh my gosh, they're bad, they're calling, this shouldn't be. Everything is just as it should be.
How would you look at it that they're helping you?
Well, I don't know how they're helping you, but there's nothing is just happening to us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing is
right. It's happening for us. So
it's for you, and you may not know why now, or you may never know. It doesn't matter. But when you shift the vibration into that love and that gratitude for everything that is happening in the moment, that shifts you right out of it. And I wouldn't be surprised if they just stop calling you. Right? It's that Ho'oponopono I use all the time, that Hawaiian prayer. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And you really
use that so many times that I didn't think about that for my this.
So it's what that's doing is shift.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
It's just the energy, because nothing is external or outside of us or real. If you're creating it, your consciousness is creating it, which is an illusion. So just take yourself out of that like very narrow space that you're in right now in that picture of, oh my God, this is happening, this is real, I have debt, I have to pay it, I feel guilty. You know, that's such identification with the self, with I am Danielle and this is happening to me. What are the other options here? Let's take ourselves out of it. Let's expand our vibration. Let's love people and the pieces and the parts of this thing that's happening for my highest good and growth in this moment and everybody else's.
Good point.
And watch the rest of the beginning of our video, because I think it'll really help you as well. If you go back.
No.
We have it out.
I'm going to. I'm sorry I didn't see the whole thing. It'll be available tomorrow, you said, or later? Or...
I think,
this should be the next couple days.
We'll have it available.
Are you on our Shift to Rise mailing list yet?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Are you coming to our retreat?
I want to.
You come to our retreat.
I want to.
Where do you live, Danielle?
I live in Florida.
Okay. Cool. I just talked to another person who lives in Florida who might be coming too. But did you get the name of this book? Did you get it?
Who wrote it?
Robert Scheinfeld.
Busting Loose from the Money Game, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
I recommend it. It'll change your life.
I'm so glad that you're here with us.
I am too. It's fun. I know. I want to come sit at the table.
Yeah.
Every time we're in this room, Danielle pops up on the screen and has some amazing aha. Remember with Kao? You had that.
Oh my God, I love her.
With Kao, and she started tapping into her intuitive gifts on that. So it's just so great.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I'm an intuitive psychic medium. And the more, it's cool. The more I say it, the more I get it. And it still makes me cry. That is so funny. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you for being here.
And if anybody else is, when you're listening to this, if you want to find out more about our Shift to Rise retreat, definitely check out www.shifttorise.com. We've got some bonuses going on still. That, oh my gosh, these bonuses it's all about the bonuses.
It's all about the bonuses, baby.
So if you get hooked in now at our early bird pricing, it feels like it resonates with you, and you go through that application process, one of the bonuses that you get when you sign up now is an extra night stay with us and a private dinner with us, which is so cool. As well as coaching sessions, full-on coaching sessions.
Full-on, before you come to the retreat, you get a coaching session with me privately.
Pre-frame your whole trip.
Pre-framing.
Yep. Pre-frame or pre-framing.
So even if you just have a little, little thing,
what
is this called? This thing.
This little, your soul is happy and jumping up and down.
When you have things and you just know that's the thing you have to do.
Yeah.
That feeling,
tap
into that, follow it, and reach out to us.
And if you apply, just for applying, you get a free hour call with one of us.
That's right.
Oh, I do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Danielle, I want to point out my favorite part of your story that you just told is the part where you said, "Oh, I accomplished all these things that I never thought I'd be able to."
Yeah.
I
want to add this one to it.
I'm going to remember that. That's what I'm going to choose to remember about you, that you're someone who's accomplished a whole bunch of things that you never thought you would be able to do. Cool. So I'm just going to leave you with that.
Okay, thank you. How do I find you guys on Facebook to connect with you? Because I know Kimmy. But
if you look at Kimmy, go to Shift to Rise.
Oh,
Shift to
To Rise.
That's our page, and we're each on there.
Yeah, and we're all attached to that as well.
Individually as well. So.
And they're both Buzz.
Yeah, we're both Buzz members.
Ryan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shift to
And
Rise.
.com if you would like to fill out that application.
www.shifttorise.com.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome. I will do that.
Everybody.
Thanks,
Thank
everybody.
you guys. It was awesome talking to you and seeing you again, Kimmy.
Hey.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.